With this retouch, we've gotten to the point where we have gotten rid of some of the blemishes that are in the images, got rid of some of those flyaway hairs that are appearing around the image. So the next thing that we want to do, now this is not any particular order, I'm just going in and addressing some of the things that you would find whenever you are doing a retouch. And of course everybody always looks right in the eyes because we're humans and that's how we communicate. So one of the things that I want to go ahead and show you technique is how to lighten the eyes. If I kind of zoom out here, you can see that her eyes are perfectly fine, but I think we can enhance them a little bit by giving them a little bit of lighten on this retouch so that it'll make them sparkle a little more. One thing with lightening the eyes or doing any kind of retouching to the eyes is that we look at people's eyes all the time, like I said earlier here. That's the first thing that we look at, and so if you have a edit on your composition that is too drastic, then it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. So you really want to do some very, very subtle edits on doing any kind of enhancement on the eyes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is right on the layer that we have here, the top layer, I'm going to go in and do something that you might think, wow, this is going to be crazy. You know what? I won't do it on this layer. I will do it on the a layer above it. I'm going to go Control J to copy that layer. And on this layer, I'm going to use a blend mode. I'm going to go up here to the blend mode and use screen. All right. And as you can see, it just covered the entire image with a lighter color. And really all we have to be concerned with at this time is the eyes themselves. Because what we're going to do now is that we're going to go in with a layer mask and we're going to apply a layer mask to that screen layer. Now we're going to do one more thing as we create that mask. Is I want to create a black mask instead of a white mask, which is the default setting. And the reason we want to do that is we want to cover up this layer that we have selected here, this layer on top that has a screen blend mode on it. So we're going to cover it up completely, and then we'll go back in and we'll actually just paint on that mask to make sure that the eyes themselves are the only thing that will be affected by that layer. So I'll go ahead and show you how to do it. We want to go ahead and hold the Alt button down and then go down to your layer mask and click on that. So now it looks just as if we didn't have that layer made or actually set to screen mode. It looks just like a normal layer because we have a black mask, and notice that black mask. So if I have a black mask and I want to modify that, then I need to paint on it with white. So I will choose X on my keyboard to toggle my foreground and background color. Just go back and forth with the X. Okay, make sure that white is the color that I'm going to actually be painting with. I'll pick my brush tool. As you can see, I've got a funky brush in there, so I'm going to go up here and pick just a normal soft brush, perfectly fine. And I'm going to go in and just with a soft brush, I'm going to go ahead and just paint where the eyes are. Now the first thing you're going to see is like, oh my goodness, look at that. That looks freaky. I'm going to pull back a little bit. That definitely makes her look freaky. But the cool thing is that since we are on an independent layer, is I can make an edit that strong. As a matter of fact, I want to make an edit that strong because now I have control where I can go in and actually move the opacity down. Now if I take this opacity down to 0%, it's going to look just like it did if I didn't have any type of layer mask on there. So I can just edge this up just a little at a time and just give her a little bit, and I like to pull back so I can kind of see it. And again, this is a good time where you can go in and turn that layer off and on, and you can see the difference. of what I've done with that. And that might just be a little bit too strong. So I'm going to back that off a little bit more. So just a subtle amount of lighten on there. See that? That's before, that's after. I'm still just a little bit scared of that, so I'm going to pull that off just a little bit more. All right, I think that's where I want to be. All right. The next thing we're going to do to the eyes is that we're going to do a little more contrast in there. We're going to make it a little more contrasty because this model's eyes, we can make it sparkle. And how we're going to do that is with the layers or with a curves mask in there. So what I need to do is I'm going to go ahead and on my keyboard, I'm going to push the Shift, Alt, Control, and E at the same time. And what that does is it's going to go ahead and move everything that I've done so far to a layer on top. All right, so that's the layer that we're talking about. All right, what I want to do now is go ahead and create a mask because I just want the eyes, just the pupils to be selected here. So I'm going to get my lasso tool, and I'm not going to be real crazy about where I'm going to do it, but I want to get as much as the pupil as I can inside that selection. And notice that my cursor here, if you can see it, I'm not sure how it'll translate on the video, but I am holding Shift so that I can get both of the irises selected. All right, while I have that selected, then I can go down here to the bottom of my layers palette, and I'm going to go to curves. And that's going to automatically put me a curves dialog box up here. Now, right here at the top of the curves dialog box, there's this little scrubby. And if you click on that, it turns into a dropper tool. And what I'm searching for now is I'm going to find on her pupil here a color. Now see, as I move this eyedropper over here, you'll see this little square develop on this line, and that's just where I am in the values. So if I click on there, it turns into a scrubby, and I'm going to move that up just a bit. Okay, so that took care of my light. So right there is where my lights are. I'm going to go back and grab some of my darks over here, and I'm going to move it the opposite direction. I'm going to bend it down. Okay, now you'll look at it and you'll go, well, I don't see very much happen. Well, if you turn this off and on, you'll see that I just brought the contrast up on that pretty drastic. All right. So what we're going to do is that we're going to stop on this video, and then we will come back and we will work on some more of this photo retouch.